Yeah, it's great for Denver Broncos fans being in December. 10 wins already. And Baldy, the conversation that we're having today is about
Yeah.
how clutch Bo Nix has been. Since he entered the NFL, he has most game-winning drives, most fourth quarter comebacks of any quarterback in the NFL. He's tied with John Elway for the most game-winning drives in Broncos history in a single season. And we're having the conversation about, one, what makes him so clutch. I want to get your thoughts on that. And then also, is this just something that's ingrained in him, that he is just going to be this clutch player? Or is there a fear that you would have from the outside saying, like, this will run out at some point?
I don't have that fear. It is ingrained in him. This isn't, Sean Payton's never had a quarterback like this ever, at any level. Tony Romo, I mean, go through all the guys he's had. He's never had a guy like this. Like, you just watch him play. Like, he doesn't get sacked. He avoids every sack. I don't care what kind of pressure's on him. Von Miller was chasing him yesterday or on Monday night or whatever it was, and he's just elusive. He's the least sacked quarterback in this league. He plays at a frenetic pace. Maybe that's why, the completion percentage, the quarterback rating isn't as high as you want. But, the throw to Evan Ingram, won the game for him. And, it was a great route by Evan, but he makes the throw. He makes these clutch plays. And sometimes it's because of how athletic he is, how elusive he is. I mean, that guy, does he ever get tired? Because I watch him sometimes. I'm like, he never looks tired. He always looks under control, yet he could be running every single pass play sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we're talking about is, so J.K. Dobbins probably out for the year. There's some rumors that maybe he comes back for the Super Bowl. We're skipping steps, though, if we're talking about that. The Broncos haven't had many designed runs for Bo, which is something that they did more of last year. And it feels like they're kind of just waiting for the right time to start busting those out. When is the right time to say, like, okay, Bo, we need like a quarterback power here just to keep us going? And could that kind of be part of the solution to not having JK in the playoffs?
It can be. You just risk the hits. Is it worth the risk, the hits that you take in those type of situations? I mean, look at Lamar Jackson right now. I'm going to see him on Sunday against Pittsburgh. He doesn't look real healthy, but he's been taking those hits for a long time. You look at Jackson Dart. You look at these guys that run. None of them really stayed very healthy for many seasons. So I think as much as he already scrambles, I don't know that you have to dial up many more runs right now. I know it's struggling. The run game doesn't look very good. Jaleel popped a couple of runs against Washington, but I know it's been a little bit of a struggle right now. But I would rather have him healthy versus an improved run game right now. I mean, I think if that's even a choice, I don't know that it is, because you can't legislate injuries. I mean, they can happen at any time, knock on wood. But I don't know if I would put him into that type of situation just to improve the run game.
Baldy, we were looking at it without getting into the nuts and bolts of the stats. Basically, when the Broncos are trailing in clutch situations, Bo's elite. When they're tied, he's kind of in the middle. And when they're ahead in clutch situations, he's not very good. Do you think that is a product of scheme or a product of like Bo just locking in more when they're behind?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't know that, so that's new to me. So I'm just thinking about it like in real time here. That's interesting. I think part of it is his DNA. Like, it's just crunch time. We got to go. Like, the defense has done everything they can do. Keep the score down, take the ball away, sack the quarter. Like, they're doing their job. Let me do my job. And I don't. Maybe he does maybe lock in that situation, overtime, against Washington, whatever it might be. The games that we have seen him come down the field and win. You just hope that it can continue, especially into the playoffs where you might be in that predicament.
Baldy, if the Broncos beat the Raiders on Sunday, they will be 11-2, tied with the Patriots at 11-2, and both of those teams will have at least a 2-game lead on every other team in the AFC. So it's those two teams really competing for the 1 seed right there. Instead of going through the schedules and asking you who's going to have a better record, who's a better team right now between the Broncos and the Patriots, assuming the Broncos take care of business on Sunday against the Raiders?
I think the Broncos are a little bit better right now just because of what they can do defensively. I think they're a little bit better. The Patriots have everything it takes, though. They really do. I mean, their secondary is every bit as good as Denver's. Christian Gonzalez, Patrick Surtain. I mean, honestly, they're both shutdown corners. They're both elite. It was a great matchup the other day with McLaurin and Patrick. So, you could go up against number one wide receivers that you might see in the postseason. I think Denver's a little bit better, although, right, but the Patriots, they've been unbelievable. Their rookie class is unreal. The left side of the offensive line last week played two backups. You didn't even know the difference. They are very clean. They might be a little better on special teams with what Marcus Jones is doing. But I think if you look at the remaining schedule here for Denver, like they're going to get tested. They're going to get tested by Kansas City. They're going to get tested by the Chargers. I think they're going to get tested more than what the Patriots are going to get tested. I don't have their schedule in front of me, but you're not going to get tested by the Jets. You're not going to get tested really by Miami. They'll get tested by Buffalo. That will be their one game where, all right, are we playoff ready? That kind of thing. So I think maybe that matters. Maybe it doesn't. But I would say that you're going to have pretty good tests of teams that are trying to get to the playoffs that you got to go through right now.
I'm curious what you thought of how Evan Ingram played on Sunday because obviously a couple drops to start the game, which is a bit of a trend. But after that, had his best game as a Bronco, and it felt like the Broncos were putting him in situations where he could work in space. Had the little double move on Bobby Wagner. Do you think that they found something there that they can build on? Because we've kind of been waiting for Evan to become a bigger part of the offense.
I felt like the drops are the drops, and so those you can't ignore them, because they were perfect throws, and they were just concentration drops. But the jerk route against Wags. Just the whip routes that he runs, like that's where he excels. That's what he was really good at in New York. That's what he was great at in Jacksonville. I feel like it's almost untapped because we haven't seen much of it. And so I felt like almost in whatever it was, week 13, it was like his coming out party. And I feel like there is something there that they can really go to, down the stretch here and into the playoffs. I mean, I feel like you've got to be able to use him because he's very good, depending on how you're playing your coverages and who's your underneath coverage and who's your nickel, all those kind of things. He's not really a tight end. He's a slot receiver is what he is. And so he's a chess piece. And I think, you give Sean chess pieces, he usually knows how to use them.
Speaking of kind of chess pieces, a conversation we were having earlier was about how Bo has clearly looked more comfortable in up-tempo situations. But when Sean's been pressed about it, he kind of pushes back on not wanting to necessarily go to it more. Do you think that's another kind of chess piece that he's holding in his back pocket of when we need it most, I can pull out that up-tempo card, but I don't want it to become a crutch for Bo?
Well, the problem when you go up-tempo, as a change or maybe as a feature is that because I used to see this in the Big 12 when I did Big 12 games, everybody was up tempo. They ran a play every 15 seconds. Is if you get a 3 and out, your defense is off the field for 40 seconds. And that's the dangers is if you have 3 and outs when you're playing like that, you're not taking any time off the clock and you're putting your defense around the field. Now that's part of it. I saw Chip Kelly do that in Philadelphia and their defense played more snaps than anybody in the league. So that's something you have to consider. But I don't know. I kind of like the up-tempo change of pace. The defense doesn't get a whole lot of chances to substitute. Obviously, if you don't substitute, they're not going to substitute. And you're up at Mile High. I never won a game Mile High. Never. In preseason, regular season, I was 0 for 7, and I was always sucking and winning. Sometimes that's not a bad thing to go to. Teams that aren't nobody's used to it until they have to deal with it. And I think it can be something that you can go to, especially if you're seeing, a bunch of big guys in the middle that are getting gassed pretty quickly.
Well, Baldy, you're undefeated every time you join this show, and we're in the Mile High, so you've got some wins there. Broncos play the Raiders this Sunday. Don't want to totally overlook them, but from a national perspective, I couldn't have been more wrong about the Pete Carroll hire, and I know it's just 1 year, but I thought Pete was going to bring stability to the organization, bring a 500 team there, and they're the complete opposite. They are 2-10. They're fighting for that number 1 pick in the draft this year. Is this a thing where Pete might be one and done here? Where are the Raiders in a big picture organizationally right now?
Well, they're a mess. They really are. Pete Carroll's got his son coaching the offensive line. It could be the worst in football. I'm not putting it on Pete's son, but it's getting a lot of attention right now. They can't run the ball at all, and you thought with Ashton Genty that was going to be the foundation, and they can't. And defensively, they've been pretty good against the run. And then the Chargers last week, Kamani Vidal, like that first play of the third quarter went 56 yards, and they looked like they'd never seen crack toss before. So, look, if it's this bad, we've seen plenty of teams. We saw the Patriots last year, one and done, and it was the right move to get Vrabel. So if they have a better option, and I don't know how influenced Tom Brady is in any decision-making up there, but if this thing doesn't, if they don't get a couple of wins down the stretch here, like I can easily see this thing being one and done.
Man, that is tough right there. Baldy, last one for you. Speaking of this game this weekend, what's the key for the Broncos to pull off the win? And maybe even not just pull off the win, but have a easy performance where Broncos country isn't just waiting to the very last second of the game to see if they win?
Well, I mean, look, when you get teams like this, like, don't let them hang around. Just don't. You know, like, you got to, if you, like, I'm sure Sean's message all week is, like, go in there and show go win your 10th game in a row, whatever it is. And, like, don't let this team hang around. Show that you're the better team, that you're better, you're better talented, you're better equipped, you're better, production, preparation, it's better. Like, go prove it and go put this team away. Like, don't let them get to the fourth quarter in a one-score game or got to come from behind, against Washington. I don't know how many opportunities they had to put that game away last week. You just kept letting, Washington hang around, kick field goals, get to overtime. Don't let that happen. Like, because they're a better team. They're better at every level. If guys want to get their numbers, and guys, Pro Bowl voting is going on, you want to go get your numbers. This is a good team to go get your numbers. You want 7, 8, 9 sacks, go get 60 sacks as a team, go get double digits, for a bunch of guys. Like, this is the week to go do it, not selfishly, but get after Geno Smith. That's the message. One of the messages I would send.
Well, that match has got me fired up for Sunday, Baldy. Love that you're rocking the NFL with that hat. You're rocking the jacket last week. It
Very
is the
Rob
best.
Lowe of you.
You are the best. Yeah, exactly. And we appreciate you joining us today. We look forward to talking to you next week when the Broncos are taking on a Packers team. That'll be fun.
Yeah, you got it, guys. Enjoy it this week. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's go. Thank you, Baldy. Enjoy your football weekend. Man, the absolute best, joined by our guy, Brian Baldinger.